If your clients are like most people, they can intuitively sense when their self-care is out of balance, but they may not know what to do to start their self-care habits in an effective manner. And this confusion, when it's coupled with a very busy lifestyle or with a very hectic lifestyle, can equate to them procrastinating any form of self-care until something really serious happens. For example, if they face burnout or they fall sick or they become unwell. So creating a personalized self-care plan, which is tailored to their needs, is the first step that they can take to empower or to feel empowered, reduce stress, and also prevent burnout in future. Hi, if you're new to me, I'm Shika and I used to work as a counselor, and now I create done-for-you coaching content and coaching workbooks and masterclasses for coaches. So if you want a step-by-step routine, or rather step-by-step outline on how you can create a self-care plan for your coaching clients, you can continue watching, listening, or reading depending on where you're catching me from. All right, so step 1 is to create a self-care assessment or some kind of self-care audit. This step is extremely crucial because it will highlight the specific self-care needs which may have been unintentionally neglected by your clients whilst they are busy pursuing their goals. And I know that creating an assessment of any kind can be quite daunting. It's even for experienced coaches and counselors because it requires a lot of thought, research, and also insight as well. So that's why I have used my own insight and experience as a counselor to help you create a 25-question self-care assessment, which you can download from my show notes or YouTube description based on depending on where you're catching me from. So this self-care assessment and self-care audit is free for you, and you can use it as a lead magnet to get more subscribers, or you can use it during your coaching sessions. And okay, so you can download that if you want to, and that is step 1. Step 2 is to create self-care goals for each of the 5 self-care categories. So ideally, goals should be specific and realistic for your clients. And after completing the free assessment that you download from my show notes or description box, you can then encourage them to create 3 self-care goals for each of the 5 categories that I'm going to mention. So the 5 self-care categories which I'm going to mention are physical self-care, emotional self-care, spiritual self-care, social self-care, and also mental self-care. So you can encourage your clients to set 3 goals for each of these 5 categories. That's step 2. Step 3 is to create a personalized so-called self-care menu. So a self-care menu is like a fun spin to creating just a simple list of their favorite self-care activities. All of us have our own list of favorite self-care activities. So instead of just listing them down in a simple list, you can encourage them to get creative with it. And you can take in the form of a mind map. It can be in the form of a table. It can be in the form of a calendar. Or if they prefer something really simple and minimalistic, then they can just have some bullet points which list down their favorite self-care activities. So this self-care menu ideally should have about 20 activities which bring about feelings of mental peace, joy, relief, or some kind of gratitude or feeling of expansiveness in them. And this self-care menu should be personalized to their needs, and if they need some kind of inspiration or ideas, they can choose to reflect on activities in the past that they have done which offer them the feelings that I have mentioned and which offer them feelings of self-care. Some very common examples which work for many people are spending time with loving and supportive people, introspective activities such as journaling, participating in active meditations, or even going for therapy. So that's step 3, which is to create some kind of self-care menu or some kind of a list of self-care activities which work for them. Step 4 is to intentionally schedule all these activities from the self-care menu into a weekly planner. So I'm sure your clients have some kind of planner. I'm guessing they do have maybe even a Google Calendar or a physical planner. And they can actually write down the activities from their self-care menu onto their planner. Some of us may say that or may have the perception that self-care activities or joyful activities need not be scheduled, but I beg to differ, because when we schedule or when your clients schedule self-care activities into their week, they have a much higher chance of committing to them. And this is especially true if they have a very busy lifestyle or they have a very fast-paced lifestyle, because when they have a very busy lifestyle, their self-care needs may just fall to the wayside in favor of more quote-unquote work-related activities, more productive activities. So they may actually choose to indulge in very easy, passive, so-called self-care activities such as watching TV, for example, or emotional eating even. So you may want to encourage your clients to schedule self-care activities which actually enrich their lives, bring them joy, and energize them mentally and emotionally, or activities which create pleasant memories for them. So that's step 4. Step 5 is to help your clients balance success with self-care. So you can ask your clients which self-care needs are they likely to neglect when they are experiencing a very busy or stressful period in their lives. You can encourage them to list them down. For example, they may neglect their sleep, their exercise, their meditation, or even their hobbies when they are actively pursuing their goals. And you can ask them the following questions, or you can even create a worksheet for them containing these 4 questions. So question number 1 is, which self-care need or needs do you usually neglect when you are busy? Question 2 is, what does it feel to neglect these needs? Do they feel overwhelmed? Do they feel worse? Do they feel maybe they become unwell? Do they have migraines? Things like that. Question number 3 is, what may happen if you choose to continue ignoring this self-care need? So that's when very serious consequences can happen, falling seriously ill, for example, or even having some kind of breakdown. Question 4 is, what is one small action step that you can take today to pay attention to this self-care need? This step can be something really small. If they have been neglecting their physical self-care for a while, they can do something really simple, such as prioritizing having 8 hours of sleep tonight. So they can prioritize having 8 hours of sleep tonight, or maybe if they've been neglecting their spiritual self-care for a while, they can choose to create some time to pray or journal or communicate with a higher power or God or the universe, or however they relate to the higher order. So those are just 2 simple examples, 2 simple action steps that they can take to pay attention to a neglected self-care need. So those are the 5 steps that I have shared with you on how you can create a self-care plan for your clients. And if you want to offer or sell a self-care masterclass to your coaching clients, you can get a done for you one from my description box or from my show notes, depending on where you're catching me from. So you can launch and sell your own 60-minute create your own self-care plan masterclass. And this done for you masterclass is fully done for you. Like I mentioned, you have 80 slides editable with Canva, you have an accompanying workbook, as well as a script. So these are all done by me. I use my counseling experience and my insight and my research as well to create this self-care masterclass for you. You can purchase it and you can sell it to your audience. You can use it as a lead magnet, but I would recommend you to, sell it as a masterclass. That's what I would recommend. And with, as I mentioned, everything is fully designed and fully written, and you can launch your own self-care masterclass by tomorrow if you need to. All right, so I hope that this episode has been helpful for you in some way. I hope to see you in my next episode. Goodbye.